Good evening, everyone, or good early morning, from wherever you are tuning in from. So, my name is Angeline Constantinou. I am a founder, coach, and podcaster of Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So, welcome to my podcast. Welcome to this live broadcast. And please like and subscribe to my podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and all the live streams. And my podcast is to empower women who have come out of domestic abuse to share their real life stories of how they went from victim to victor. I help women amplify their voice. So this podcast helps women amplify their voice and help them regain their power and after domestic violence or any some sort of abuse. So welcome to the broadcast tonight. Let us know. Please smash the heart button. Please let us know where you are tuning in from. I have a very special guest tonight, which I'm super excited. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Angeline Mitchell. Okay. So tonight we have a very special guest, and her name is oops. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Okay, and her name is Hi Dawn. How are you? How are you? So her name is Genia, and Genia is a transformational life coach, and she is the owner of RainDance Life Mind, Body, and Spirit. So I love what she writes. Okay. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, but it's learning to dance in the rain. Rain Dance, life's mission and ultimate vision is to help others break through the limitations holding them back and lead them on a path to unlock the greatness that is already inside of them, offering balance and blending of mind, body, and spirit for a vibrant, integrated, and empowered life. So, without further ado, I am going to bring on Genia. Hi, Genia.
Hello, Angeline. I'm so grateful to be here, and hello,
I am,
everyone out there in the airwaves. It's an amazing,
and by the way,
and I'm so grateful to
good.
be on your show. You're such an inspiration, and
Thank
I'm
you.
happy
And
to be
so are
here.
you. And so are you. And Genia and I, we had the pleasure of connecting through a network at podcastguest.com. So I feel super happy and blessed that you are here with us tonight, Genia, because I know that you want to share your story of how, where you came from. And before we do that, let me just acknowledge a couple of people here. This is my friend Dawn Howell from Ohio. She is tuning live in tonight. Thank you so much for supporting us, Dawn. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Dawn is a very good friend of mine, and she
Thank you so
is
much, Dawn. Hello in Ohio.
yes,
Hello.
yes, and she is a certified Radiant Leadership Life Coach. So we are in another organization here that empowers women. So I'm really happy that you're here tonight. So regarding yourself, because I looked at your website, I looked at everything. You have a podcast too. Where who is people want to know tonight for the listeners who are going to be listening to this live podcast episode on Monday, and for the viewers who are going to be joining here tonight, and for those who are going to be watching the replay, who is Genia and where did you come from?
All right.
Ready?
Let me apologize for the internet. We're having some technological difficulties, clearly with the internet. So we're going to do the best we can. We're gonna be flexible with the airwaves.
Right.
So what I think I heard you ask is, what is rain dance and who is Genia? Who are you?
Well, people want to know who you are.
So am I back? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, Genia will be sharing her story in a minute. There's some internet difficulties, and Genia is in the Bahamas. So please accept our apologies for the technical difficulties. And she's completely frozen. So I hope that we can, get her back on here. So just bear with us, okay? So hope you're all having a great evening. And Genia has a story to tell, and her mission resonates with me and resonates, with my mission. So, okay. And if we, right, exactly. That's what we need to do, Dawn. Join her live in the Bahamas, right? Exactly. Yeah, she dropped off. Okay, let's see if she could come back on. See, we danced through the storm. Speaking of which, Dawn, we had a temporary power failure this morning at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then after the power was restored, the Wi-Fi went down. So this is, but we learn to persevere and dance through the storms, especially technical. Oh, she's gone. I hope that she could come back. So, yeah, I know. It looks like that she's. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can. If we can't go live tonight for some, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. So, if she is not able to get back on, all in God's timing, right? Exactly. So, and I am, very grateful for Genia because I I know that she wants to break the silence with me on my platform and share her story. So let's see if she's able to hop back on. What I'm going to do is if she doesn't have Wi-Fi, we may have to reschedule this, which I would prefer not to do, but if we have to, we will. So, okay. So we'll hang tight for another minute. Otherwise, if she cannot come back on, if Genia cannot come back on, I'm going to end the live and then I'll hopefully we could get this going. So let me just see. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. Sorry about this, everyone. Oh no, she's back. She's back. Okay. All right, let me let her back in the room. Okay.
Yes. So again, what I think I heard you ask before is what is RainDance exactly, and
Right.
who are
Right.
you? Who is this person from RainDance? Well, RainDance Life is a wellness center in Pennsylvania. It's also, a concept. One of my favorite quotes that got me through a lot of my life was life, isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. So the name derives from there. It took me a very long time to learn how to dance in the rain, like most of us.
Right, exactly.
And I'm still learning, like we all are. It's part of the journey. But it was a passion project of mine that I did finally open in 2015.
Oh, good.
Much like you, Angeline, I did have a, experience in corporate, and I had my corporate job and I did all the right things and, the right life path and all that. But I became a corporate refugee in 2015, and I really wanted to open a safe space for mind, body, and spirit, because our suffering isn't just the mind, it isn't just the body, and it isn't just the spirit. And I personally had never been able to find a place, all three in one. Right. So I said, well, maybe if I can't find it, I guess I'm going to have to build it. So I amassed an amazing group of practitioners, anywhere from massage therapists to Reiki practitioners, coaches, therapists, body workers. So we kind of, have the holistic approach of, health and wellness, specifically because it is, our minds and our bodies are connected 100% of the time.
That's right. You're
Right?
absolutely right.
So, um, so that's where rain dance had come from, and I'm happy to be surrounded by such a great team of practitioners and therapists and such. And I myself and my husband, we have focused and placed all of our focus on our trauma informed coaching.
Mm.
um, we go into the deep and the dark.
Oh yeah. And what does that feel like? What does that look like for someone?
Well, for me, it's again, it's my passion, right? It is me creating the space that I needed that I never had when I was younger, right?
Right.
So it's my jam, it's my passion, and to free people, to help people find their freedom from, the shadows that have been carrying them throughout their life, and find their light and find their freedom. It's amazing to me. People ask me, well, how can how do you deal with trauma all day long? Like, isn't that awful? I'm like, I love it because I love having those moments,
Mm.
where people feel heard and seen and they can begin to heal.
Exactly. And people want to be, heard and seen and felt. So what does that look like? Like I noticed on your website you also offer workshops, you do retreats.
We
Yeah,
do.
which is great for women, and you offer, in-person coaching. But how does a woman completely heal from trauma? I mean, I know that you said that you go into
Yeah,
you really, really deep. So do they heal
sure.
or
I
completely heal?
absolutely believe a woman, anyone, can completely heal from trauma, because trauma, remember, trauma is not what happens to us. Trauma is what happens inside of us as a result of what happened to us.
Okay. Okay. I understand.
And we can heal the inside. We can't heal what happened to us. We can't undo what the experience of it, but we can heal from the inside and can be completely free of trauma.
Exactly. 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 And Dawn, see, she loves women's retreats.
Me too, Dawn. I love women's
Yeah,
retreats.
Dawn
Look,
attended the retreat last weekend. I wasn't able to make it. It was in Ohio, but see, Dawn is fully healed. She was
yeah,
able to break through her self-limiting beliefs. And
right.
that's huge for a lot of women today, especially for women who have gone through domestic abuse. So I know that you had gone through domestic abuse.
I
Okay.
had.
When did that happen and how did you overcome it? What were the strategies and tools that you
Ha.
implemented?
All right. Well, yes, I did. My trauma started as a child. You talk about the big bad uglies. My
Mm.
childhood had the big bad uglies, the physical violence, the emotional violence, the sexual abuse. I came through the big bad uglies. And trauma is not necessarily always those big, shocking, sometimes it's
Right.
the lack of good things. But in my case, it was as complex trauma as you can get.
Right.
So of
Exactly.
course, so in my adult life, I sort of realized, hindsight, I mean, going into it, you don't ever get married and say, oh yay, let me get married to an abusive partner, hooray. it wasn't
No,
it wasn't in my
it doesn't work
planner.
that
It
way.
wasn't something I consciously planned,
Mm.
right? It's not something we consciously want. It's not something, right? But it was something I was unconsciously, this is
Okay. Okay, folks, bear with us while she tries to get the internet restored. As But see what Genia was talking about. I mean, her story is going to inspire many, many, many people, women and men alike. So Okay. She dropped off again. So I'm sure that Genia will be back. So we're going to continue the broadcast. And what we're going to be, she'll here she is. Okay.
So, yeah. So I was saying it wasn't something I was consciously seeking, but it was something I was unconsciously, if that makes sense.
Okay. I didn't hear the last part. Unconsciously, that was because that you broke up a little bit. Oh, hold on 1 second. Right. Okay. In the fact that it's normal. Got it. Okay.
Right. And it
So,
also confirmed.
okay. And it
It also
confirmed,
confirmed the belief,
right, that,
right? So
right,
that I was fundamentally flawed. Like I am,
right,
unworthy. This is something, this is, what I deserve, right? This is what I'm used to, right?
exactly, exactly.
So from that, it did take, there was one specific incident where I finally, the incident was so, so what's a good word? I'm trying to find it. Impactful enough that I finally did say enough,
Enough. Exactly, exactly.
enough, enough. And the healing process, began that day with me finally, some part of me screaming, this is enough, right? And
Right,
sticking
exactly,
to it.
exactly. So enough is enough. And then what did you do after that?
Oh, well, it's tough, because you do live with these limiting beliefs, right? And we as women, we find not only are we fundamentally flawed for being in this relationship, right?
Right,
We're afraid to reach out and have conversations, because if we do, then we're somehow, we have such deep, dark self-judgment, right?
oh,
You know,
right, exactly. And look what Dawn says. Dawn says, so hard, but we can do hard things. Exactly.
right. And we don't realize we can do hard things. Hi, Eliza.
Hi, Eliza. No, you're not late. You're fine. You can go
The,
back and watch the first half of the replay. I'm glad you're here, Eliza. Thank you so much. So, right, so hard, but we could do hard things.
right. And the one, the excuse I was using to stay was my daughter. She was very young at the time, but she also became one of my reasons at the time for leaving.
Right.
So for the very reason I was staying, she became the very reason that I left. Right. I had that moment. Like, I can't put this child,
Right.
what am I teaching her? What am I teaching her that's okay in her life? Like, how am I modeling, relationships? This is not okay.
This is not okay. Exactly. This is not okay. Right. And so many, I was just going to say that so many women, they feel stuck.
They do. They feel stuck. They feel powerless. They feel, and maybe at that, for me, I felt stuck and I felt powerless. And those were beliefs that I was carrying from childhood. I felt stuck and powerless as a young child and endured it. So as an adult, I was having those same feelings of stuck and powerlessness that were normal to me, right? And I
Right.
was
I understand
enduring
how
it.
you feel because I went through the same thing.
Right. You
Yeah.
feel like this is my destiny. We justify, right? We
Exactly.
create
Exactly.
confirmation, right?
Exactly.
But I'm here to say you're not stuck. We're never stuck. And healing is is right there. It's not easy, and
Right, exactly.
I'm not saying my life was all unicorns and rainbows when I left. It was tough. I had to do
Mm,
hard things.
right.
I had to, work very, very hard to make ends meet. I had to make choices,
Mhm.
for advancement of my soul. I had to sit, with myself, and unwind years and years and years of the shadow of unworthiness
Ooh,
that I thought was me. Now that
wow.
was tough.
That was tough, all right.
All right.
And how did you break through? So were you able to break through those self-limiting beliefs and now you're able to help other women? Now, do you also
Right.
work with men or it's
I
just
do. I do. I work with women. I work with
oh
men.
cool.
My husband and I work with couples. Because
Ah,
we don't realize, how our programming in childhood that we bring into, not only our adulthood for ourselves, but into our relationships. Hurt people, right? And
right,
that's how toxic cycles sort of begin and stay there. I had to have hard conversations with myself. I had to really turn the camera lens away from blaming others. Oh, my terrible parents did this, and oh, my this terrible person did that, and oh, my ex did this, and to really, really sit down and confront the parts of myself that resonated with it, and have conversation with that part of me. Where did this belief come from that that you're unworthy, that you deserve this? What that this is normal for you, that this is okay. It's not okay. A
no,
lot
it's
of,
not okay.
a lot of deep dive, having conversations, they call it inner child work now, but I had no idea what I was doing 20 years ago. I was like, I'm a crazy person, talking, holding a picture of myself as a child and having conversations, like this is not
Right,
okay. These things happen to you, and this is not okay that you've been carrying this burden with you, and accept myself and free myself from those beliefs that were never mine to begin with.
right, exactly, exactly, exactly. Which brings me to um, because I know that you have a vision. So
Yes.
when did Rain Dance Life come about?
I think RainDance Life has always, always been a part of my soul. Like there's always been that spark of me, wanting to create a place, for people like me, right? Growing up, I saw a lot of, behaviors that I thought were insane, the violence, the abuse, and things like that. And people, not, making the same choices and doing the same things over and over. And I'm like,
Right.
God, there's got to be a better way. So it's always been a spark of my inspiration to kind of lead with love. Now,
Okay.
so I finally came to the point in 2015, to realize that vision and create the space. So RainDance was born actually in October in 2015.
Wow. See
So
that?
yeah, we're at our 7-year mark, with RainDance. And at first, it was just a concept and completely virtual. And my first clients I was seeing in Dunkin' Donuts because I didn't
Oh my
have space, right?
wow. You see
Right.
that? You see that? So you started this in
Just
Pennsylvania. You so
Yep,
you
with nothing. I had nothing. I had left my corporate job. I didn't have a golden parachute. I didn't have a great, I left. So every dime that built RainDance was a dime that I made. I mean, I think back then I was charging, $40 per client. My first $40 went to business cards. My next $40 went to flyers, right? And it was funding the dream.
right.
Then I paid for the domain name for the website and build, and then added the practitioners along the way.
See, and all this came about because of a vision and a dream. And
Yes.
like I talk about all the time, as long as you have a vision and a dream, It doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. I mean, I know, women who have started with $50.
Right. Right.
And, now they run 6, 7 figure businesses. I mean, that's where the greatness comes from. And I know that lead people on a path to unlock the greatness that's already inside of them, because we all have that within us.
We all do. And it's buried. It's buried under the trauma. It's buried under our beliefs. It's buried under our excuses. I mean, really, we humans, especially us women, are very, very good at talking ourselves out of doing things that we want to do. We make a promise to a friend, right? We will
Right.
hold that promise. We will die on that promise. We will keep our obligations to other people. But when it
Right.
comes to ourselves, we're last on our list, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that. I don't have enough money for that. I can't do this, and you don't believe your thoughts. They're coming. Those beliefs aren't yours. They don't belong to you. Everything we are here, we learned here, right?
Exactly.
And our excuses and our beliefs, they're learned. They're not the truth.
Exactly. Exactly. The devil can play games in your head.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, you can't do this and you can't do that. And that
Right.
holds a lot of women back, especially
Yeah. And
and men too, but I would say women more so. But
right.
also men, I know that men, they have a tendency to keep things inside.
Right. Right. Well, look generationally, excuse me, how we were raised, emotions, none of us really were ever, there's a few out there and yay for them, were ever taught how to feel, whether it's happiness, sadness. A lot of our emotions were frowned upon by our parents.
Uh,
I know, I was never allowed to be anything but, a happy, polite, seen and not heard child, right? I mean, how many out
right.
there have heard that? Children should be seen and not heard. You know, sad.
We left off with children cannot be seen and heard. So bear with us for 1 minute, okay? Okay. I remember where we left off. Children. Ready? Bear with us. Bear with us, everyone, while she gets her Wi-Fi restored. Okay. All right. She will. So Dawn, yes, so hard, but we can do hard things. Exactly. Exactly. And you remember, wow, the final straw when you left. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Okay, now you're there. There you are.
Right. And I think, like what I was saying, like when we grow up, sadness in boys, many times often is viewed as weakness, and anger is acceptable as strength. And
Right.
assertiveness in young girls, assertiveness is looked down as aggressive,
Mm.
right? And so we learn, how to not feel our emotions, or
Sure.
and what do you do? And back to the point of knowing that moment, that defining moment, that Dawn was saying, I think we all have those defining moments in our lives, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
it could be an abusive relationship, or it could be a health incident, right? Or
Right. Exactly.
and I love to tell people you don't have to have the big huge kabong of a defining moment to change your life.
Exactly.
Absolutely wake up and enough, right?
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
make the change and make a different choice, because our choice is our creation. What I've learned, you
I
know.
totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Absolutely. So, what I want to say is this, because we're coming up to half past the hour right now. So tell us about, do you do virtual workshops, in person workshops?
We
Tell
do.
us
Oh,
about
yes. Well, thank you, COVID, because before COVID, most everything we were doing was in person, except for a few, virtual things.
that. Right.
Um, but now offer most everything hybrid. So we
Okay.
have both. We have virtual and on-site workshops. Also with our coaching sessions, of course, and many of our not body works, but our other type of healing modalities. More of the
Oh,
energy works can be done online as well. My husband and I also, for the last 7 years, every Wednesday night, we have a free support group. We do
ooh,
it virtually. It's called I Am Broken, but I Am Ready to Fix Me.
I love it.
And we have people come from worldwide, and it's a raw, open sharing, of our challenges, our traumas, and it is a healing space with us, and to be among other, people that are going along the same journey. It's just a wonderful group, and we just so fortunate to be able to offer it. We haven't missed a Wednesday in 7 years, and
Good.
that's another one of our wonderful babies that we've birthed, brain dance being one, and our support group too. And since we've moved internationally, we've gleaned more of an international audience, which is,
Wow.
it's fun to be with people and realize, at the end of the day, we're all human, and we're all suffering from the same things: lack of
Exactly.
worthiness, pain, trauma, relationships, challenges. So
Exactly.
so we do that
When
every
did you
Wednesday.
Yeah, when did you make the move to the Bahamas?
We moved out here about a year and a half ago.
Wow. So is that your full-time residence now?
It is. It is.
Wow. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of doing virtual. You can work from wherever you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really, like I was saying, thank you, because before COVID-19, we were the wellness center. So we had to learn real quick when everything shut
Sure.
down. What a great learning experience, initiation by fire, and figuring out the Zoom, and figuring out this and that. So it's really, and we decided to keep, the hybrid forever, and it's working out really wonderfully.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you were here tonight to share your story and to share your passion for helping women and men break through those self-limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And I love your mission,
Thank you.
because your mission resonates with me. So where can people get in contact with you?
Absolutely. At raindancelife.com is our website. You can send an email right through there. Our handle on all Facebook, everything's at RainDance Life. Instagram, Twitter. I try to keep it real simple.
Like me, that's what I do with my website. Everything simplified. Yeah.
Yeah, so at RainDance Life, all across everywhere. And please send us an email. My husband and I are happy, to offer like a pro bono consultation. We don't ever want anyone not to receive the help that they need. We have sliding scale appointments. We will not price anybody out of getting the help that they need and helping them find their freedom.
That's good. Because that's the goal. The goal
Yeah,
is to help them get to freedom and help them to get to the promised land and to have that
exactly.
freedom. So good for you. I'm really commend you and your husband for doing this. So for those of you who are going to be watching the replay or tuning live, please get in touch at www.raindancelife.com.
Yes.
And Genia and Jess, they will do a free pro bono consultation, which is great.
Yes.
Okay. And, they're going to help you uncover those blocks, like I know you talk a lot about that energy,
Yes.
about, there's certain things that are blocking them from getting to their breakthrough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And most often, some of the blocks we know, right? Some of the blocks we're conscious of, but so many of
Right.
them, like in my case, I wasn't. And until, I did the internal work and found out, oh, real, that's why I've been making those same choices or attracting those types of people into my
Mhm.
universe or, having these problems circling me, until I sat in Nietzsche's proverbial abyss with myself,
Right.
and that's something that we can provide with someone. We'll walk with you. We will walk
There you
with
go.
you through your darkness and help you find your light. You have all the
Exactly.
power within you already, but you have beliefs and traumas and suffering and just all this covering it up. So we'll help with that archaeological dig to find the true you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what's a special message tonight, that you would love to share with my audience tonight?
Wow, a special message is, I believe in you, audience. I believe that you are so much more powerful than you believe. I believe you have all the power to make the changes that you choose. And healing starts the moment we feel heard. So please find yourself a space to feel heard and start your healing journey.
I
There's
like
so
that.
many wonderful people out here doing great things. Angeline, Dawn, there's so many wonderful resources. Pick up the phone, start your healing journey because you can have anything in life that you dream of. And it doesn't have to be lofty dreams. Maybe it's peace, but it is right there for you.
Exactly. Exactly. Everything is there. Take advantage of the resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So on that note, we are going to end the broadcast tonight. And I want to thank Genia. Thank you so much for being on my podcast show tonight, all the way from the Bahamas. And I have to travel in Bahamas is on my bucket list.
Come on down, please.
I'm going to come down and
Yes.
I would love to collaborate and, work together
Sure,
because,
we can do a beachside podcast. There you go. Have a little,
ooh, I love that.
right?
I love that.
Little coastal coaching.
I like it. That's the
Please.
beauty. See, I mean, look, JD and I connected. Look at this on social media, and
Right.
she's in the Bahamas, and I'm up here in upstate New York. It's getting cold, but actually,
Yeah.
tomorrow's supposed to be 70 degrees. But
Oh,
that
well,
is,
little Indian summer going on there. It's gonna be a little
yeah,
heat
we have a
wave.
little Indian summer going on up here. But I want to thank you, Genia, for tuning in. For sharing your story and your passion. Please reach out to go to their website, raindancelife.com, and please book a call. Okay. So
Yeah,
Genia will get you on the right path of healing,
we will
and
get you on the path.
she will get you through your breakthrough and
Mhm.
freedom. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Angeline Mitchell. And please like and subscribe to my podcast, Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. You can go on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and all the other live streams. And if you can leave a positive rating, that would be great, because the more people, the more awareness that we bring, that's going to really get us up there in the algorithms. And my podcast is now in seven countries.
Beautiful.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, thank you. So,
So
you
yes,
know,
everyone subscribe and let's break the silence. Let's
let's
have
break the
these smart
silence.
conversations. Let's free ourselves from the suffering.
Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So, everyone, if you're going to be catching the replay, please hashtag replay in the comments. If you got value from this live tonight, please hashtag value. I wish you all an amazing evening. and this broadcast is coming to a close. So please be on the lookout for this live episode next Monday, as we launch all our live podcast episodes every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a great night. Hugs across the water.